What's the biggest obstacle you've faced in your life so far that you were able to overcome, and how did you do it?
Shit, going to jail, being that far away from my family for so long, like not being able to really see none of my people, get no visits or none of that shit from during my whole bid.
And we've talked about some of that before, previously in this interview. But what about this? Have you been shot by a gun before?
Yeah,
Is that something we could talk about?
yeah, I ain't sure. I got shot twice. I'm still here.
Was that from the same occurrence, or those were two separate occurrences in your life?
Now they was two different times. One when I was 15, and one when I was 16. No, one when I was 15, then one when I was 17 after I came home.
And where were you shot on each occasion?
First time I got shot at my arm. Both of the bullets still in there too. And then the second time I got shot in my leg.
So the arm was 14, the leg was 17.
No, the arm was 15, and the leg was 17.
Now, for someone watching this that's never been shot by a gun before, what does that really feel like?
That shit burn. You ain't gonna. Depends on where you, like, what's going on and how you got shot. Like, when I got shot, it was a lot of shit going on, so my adrenaline was brushed. I ain't really start feeling that shit till I got in the hospital. That shit burned. It felt like somebody stabbing.
And that's the same feeling for both times that happened in your life?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, because neither one of the bullets went all the way through, so that shit used to always just be fucking with me.
The bullets do remain in your arm, but they were taken out in the leg?
No, the one on my leg's still in there too.
Oh.
They both by arteries, and they like in a tissue. They gonna have to cut through some of my veins to try to get them out, and I'm gonna lose all the nerve in my shit. So the bullet will come out on its own as your arm heal.
And that'll happen for the leg as well too. The bullet will come out.
Yep, hopefully. It ain't no time step on it. My granddaddy died with one of his bullets never came out, and he had that bitch since he was like 20 something.
Now, when you had when you had gotten shot in the arm and you had all that adrenaline going on at the time, did that make things less painful?
Not really, shit. I just always was taught, even before I was shot, don't panic, be calm. So I felt it, but I really didn't feel it because I wasn't like exaggerating over it. I just knew I was shot. I was in shock, just looking at it, looking at the blood rush out that shit. My cousin got shot with me too, like, and he kind of like, he got shot, but his shit kind of like went through, kind of like a graze or whatnot. But I was still active with a bullet in my arm, you know?
And also, that burn feeling, is that a feeling that just stays in that area where you got shot, or is that something that spreads throughout your body?
Later on, it will. Like, later on. But right then and there, it's going to be where you got shot at. Like, that little area is going to be hurting. But when that bitch get to going, like a couple months pass or a year pass, when it rain, that shit going to fuck with you.
In what way?
It's just gonna hurt. It's gonna feel like somebody tightening some ropes. Like, you know how a cramp feel in your leg or something. Just imagine that throbbing pain, just, being in one spot of your arm.
And that's when it rains.
Yeah, most of the time when it rains.
What about when temperatures get colder, like fall, winter season?
I heard people say that, but I never had like no problem with my bullets because of the cold. It just used to always be the rain. And when I used to like hear like metal scrap, like hear metal against my arm and shit, it used to just make my arm feel real numb and cold and shit.
Speaking of metal, have you gone through metal detectors with both of these instances of bullets in you?
Yeah, for sure. I still do.
What happens in an instance when you're going through a metal detector? What happens?
Shit, I just tell them, like, it's a bullet. They can see. Like, it's easy for them to see. I show them the marks, show them that they in there. That ain't really nothing that they can say, really.
And when you were shot on both occasions, do you actually feel the bullet pierce your body at all? Or is it just more so the burning sensation or the burning feel you feel after the bullet's already gone in you?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. When you get shot, it depends on where you got shot at and how you got shot. You're not really gonna feel it right then and there, cause how your adrenaline gonna be. Like niggas don't know they shot until they get away from the scene. They stop and get to looking at themselves and they. Cause I didn't know I was shot. I thought I fell in some water. My whole left side of my shirt was goddamn just drenched. I looked at it and it was a wound.
Were you under the influence of any drugs during either of those occasions?
Probably weed.
And the reason for that question is wondering if that helped with the pain at all, being under the influence of a drug.
That's crazy. I think the weed definitely made it make sense because I was high, so I really didn't feel like it wasn't as painful as I thought it was gonna be once I got in the hospital and all that. Cause once I got in there, they started putting me on meds and shit. So
And do you think it was weed on both occasions or just the first one with the arm?
probably weed on both occasions. I used to always smoke weed.
Did you have a near-death experience at all in either of these occasions?
Mm-mm. I thought I was gonna die when I got shot in my leg though, because of how they went in and how they was talking to me and shit, like saying it was so close to one of my nerves and shit.
Just so we're on the same page here, a near-death experience as defined by Oxford Languages is an unusual experience taking place on the brink of death and recounted by a person after recovery, typically an out-of-body experience or a vision of a tunnel of light.
Nah, I ain't see none of that. I was fully functioning the whole time.
And do you know the caliber of either of the bullets that struck you?
Mm-mm.
Looking back, final question here, what do you think your key to survival of either of these gunshots were?
Shit. Just everything I learned in the past. Just from certain motherfuckers, like just knowing who been in them situations. Just keeping in mind what they said and how they handled it with they shit or what they would have did differently. I just kept all that shit in my head and when it occurred to me, I don't want to say I prepared myself for it, but I always told myself if it ever did happen, I had all these tips and I had all this knowledge about it, so.
Now, what do you make of this? You've been shot on 2 occasions. Didn't look like you had a limp walking in the lobby to this interview. Didn't look like your arm was any different than normal.
Exactly.
But there's some people in this world that get shot one time. They're paralyzed.
Yeah.
They can't walk anymore. There's also some people that get shot one time. They're not able to do an interview because they're not here on this planet anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you make of that? The fact that you were shot on 2 different occasions and relatively speaking, you look normal.
Yeah. Shit, I can't do nothing but thank God I'm blessed. I can't do nothing but give praise to the Most High, I can't take no credit for that because ain't no telling how it could have turned out. Or if one sudden more move, the bullet would have went from my arm to my chest or my leg. Cause it could have been anywhere else, but they in the spots that they in. So I can't do nothing but give props to God.
And for time reference, it's May 2022 now.